So she got tired of the hassle and getting her own tiny house. Well, I'll explain all that. So as you know, we just upgraded all our solar panels. I've talked about this a lot. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this today. Upgraded our solar panels, been able to run the well off of it every day since we did it. Yesterday, it was kind of questionable. The batteries were almost charged, and Carolyn wanted me to fill her sinks for her laundry. So that morning I filled the tank, shut it off, let the batteries charge up, and it was partly cloudy, so I mean it takes a little bit longer for that to charge up. Well, about 1 o'clock, it wasn't quite charged yet, and Carolyn wanted me to fill her sinks for the laundry so she could do rinse. I always have them full for her so she can always do the wash. Came out here to start it all back up, and it clouded up, had a huge storm. And it lasted for a couple hours. We don't get much rain. We must be right on the edge of some sort of jet stream because we just keep getting clipped. So we don't get a lot of rain, but we get tons of wind and tons of clouds. So it clouded up, but it cleared up around 4:30. And the batteries got charged up again so we could get through the night on the freezer. It was, the system seems to be working. So today it's been, this morning, all morning, it has been so cloudy that the panel's charge controller didn't even turn on. Had the little yellow light that said that it knew it was daylight out, but it didn't blink, so there wasn't enough voltage or amps, but voltage specifically, to turn on the charge controller. Well, here it is, I guess about 11:30, and I'm now getting 17 amps total. It's not a lot. I would prefer to have 25 amps at a minimum, but 17, we might be able to make it. Now, of course, it may clear up some more. It looks like over here the clouds are starting to clear up even more. That's the west, and I think everything's traveling to the east. So we'll see, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to fill the IBC tank today. Fortunately, we didn't use a lot of water last night, so it's not a big deal. But it's going to be cloudy all week, so we'll have to see how well we do. These are the things that I'm concerned about, trying to run that well just off the solar panels. Now, what I can do is I can turn that generator on there, the little one. It won't run the well, but I don't have to get the big one out, is my point. I can turn on the battery chargers, turn on one at 25 amps, turn the other one on at 10 amps. That's all of that little generator can do. The big one could do both of them at 25 amps. I can turn the well on through the inverter and let the battery chargers charge the batteries. It's a little less efficient. It's not quite as efficient as just plugging it into the big generator. But that way I don't have to disconnect all the wiring and hook it up to the generator. It's just easier this way. If I need water. Now, I suspect I could let that tank get down to about half. And on a sunny day, I could get that tank to fill back up without risking not having enough charge in the batteries to get me through the night. So I may just let it go, see how we do. All part of the experimental process. I'm trying to prepare for winter because wintertime, it's shorter days and cloudy more often. So see how we do. I think we can do it. I think the system is pretty good shape. I mean, like I said, we're getting 17 amps. You know, I've complained I'd rather get 25 amps, but 17 is more than I've ever gotten before from these things on a day like this. So this is pretty impressive. I'm very excited. Just watched a video today, some guy criticizing off-gridders, and he said, "You're no better shape than we are if something bad happened." You know, everybody's got to talk about this SHTF stuff hits the fan, because when you don't have sun, you don't have electric, just like us. Okay, but you don't ever have electric when SHTF happens, but at least every other day I'm going to have some electric. The logic of these people. One of the things I want to talk about is lighting real quick. This is how we light our house. It's a little lantern. You can buy them off Amazon. I just picked the cheapest one. I don't even know if it's the cheapest one. I think they're $15. The first thing that goes bad on it is the USB charging port. So I tore the whole thing apart, stripped the wire on the USB charging port here, hardwired it, and that works. And I have two of them. I had three, but Carolyn's son had one and lost it or something happened to it. So when the battery dies on one, I take it down, charge it up, and put the other one back up. So that's how we light the house. But I've talked about lithium batteries before. Lithium-ion batteries, lithium batteries. I'm just not a fan of them yet. I know everybody just loves them to death, but I'm not. These aren't that old. We don't hardly use them. The most we use them is in the wintertime for 4 to about 8:30, so 4 hours a day. Not a lot. They're supposed to last 8 hours, and I charge them when they're low. They're not that old, and the batteries are already dying. The charge only lasts maybe an hour now, so I'm constantly rotating them out. I don't think they'll make them through the winter for the 4 hours, so I'm gonna have to get another one. I might look at a better one, but my point is the lithium batteries. Everybody talks about how great lithium batteries are. I think everything has a downfall, and I suspect lithium batteries have a downfall. This battery is the same design as they use in lithium-ion batteries. I'm not going to get into all that explanation, but it's the same design. The big hype about spending all the money on lithium-ion batteries versus lead-acid batteries, if you take care of the lead-acid batteries, they're going to do fine. They're a struggle, don't get me wrong, but you're living off-grid. It's supposed to be a struggle. So I wanted to get to the point of this video today. Got an email a while back from a lady that said that she really enjoyed our videos, and it went to spam. I just by chance caught it. I don't check my spam that often, and it's usually just filled with, well, I don't even want to say what it's filled with, but it's always filled with trash. So I went over to spam, and I happened to see her email, read it, and they were talking about how they were wanting to live off grid. I guess in a tiny house, I think in a tiny house. And I replied back, and I actually kind of connected who she was to commenter in the comment section of the YouTube channel, and I realized they were related. And as a matter of fact, the email said that the person who comments was her daughter. I guess I've been communicating, but I didn't understand the whole picture and different things. And well, yesterday I got a little bit of an explanation from them. It's interesting. It's a really nice setup. So they sent me pictures of the tiny house. Now, at first I didn't understand what it was all about, but it was a shed they bought, I guess, at Home Depot or Lowe's or someplace. And they put in hardwood flooring. Oh my goodness, it was beautiful. It was just gorgeous, and it's a long building, kind of skinny and long. I don't know, probably, I would guess 12 feet wide, but it had to be 24 feet long. It was pretty big. And they actually showed the picture of the crane taking it off the back of the truck and putting it down on the ground. Sent me a picture of the generator, getting a Champion generator. I was getting confused at who was emailing me. They're using the same email account, but that's beside the point. But I guess I was communicating, I thought I was communicating, kind of thought, with mom and dad. But I guess I was communicating with mom and granddaughter. So what it is mom and dad were wanting to live off grid. They were going to live in a camper and build a house, and the daughter and the grandson are getting a tiny house. So I guess she bought the daughter, I guess, bought the tiny house, and they're fixing it up. They're going to get that established first, so the daughter and the granddaughter can move in, and then the mom and dad are going to live in a camper while they build their place. And they're excited. I got one email, and they said that they were excited about getting a generator. They discussed charge controllers. I try not to make recommendations because, you know, if they don't like what I recommend, then it looks bad on me. So I try not to make recommendations, but I just simply said this is the one I use. I'm sure there may be better ones out there, but you know, it was pretty cheap. So they got a charge controller. I think they got some solar panels. I think they got some used ones, if I'm not mistaken. And so the whole family is going to go live off-grid in a tiny house. And of course they were researching this, and they found my channel. Now, the mom was in the same situation Carolyn and I was. They worked non-stop. They were on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I guess he retired, the dad retired. But she decided to quit and do some extra work, side business. Well, she's wanting to get away from that. The same thing, people and life drives you. Now, I don't have permission to use their name or anything, so I'm trying to be cautious on how much information I give. I don't even want to, I wanted to show you the pictures of that floor. It's beautiful, but even if I had permission to use their name and to show those pictures, I probably wouldn't, because the trolls are so bad on my channel. They terrorize everybody. I remember a few years ago, I recommended a channel, an actual YouTube channel, and sure enough, all the trolls just went over there and just, it was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Of course, they're a new YouTube channel, the one I suggested, So I try to protect people, although I see a lot of YouTubers do these kind of collaborations where they mention, hey, so-and-so's got a YouTube channel, or so-and-so's building a tiny house. But here's the point, is they decided they wanted to do something, and they did it. In yesterday's video, I was talking about how there's two types of people, really. And I'll put an up next box to that video. It's about a stalker I had at the end of this video. But there was two types of people. I look at something that I want, and I work to do it. I wanted to run my own business. The whole thing was kind of interesting how it developed, but I wanted to run my own business. And I was at a company I was working for, and I started a web page, and I never really got anything established at that point. Well, I moved to a different company, and at that point things started getting a little better. What happened is about after a year and a half, I decided to quit and start my own company, and they hired me as a consultant, and it just kind of built up from there. And so for 10 years I ran my own business. Now I got out of the business, the economy got tough. I'd already rebuilt the business through 2 recessions, and I just didn't want to have to keep rebuilding it after every recession. So I decided to quit and get a job. But I didn't quit because I had to quit. I quit because I wanted to quit. It was just more work than I wanted to do every 5 or 6 years, going through recessions. In the last recession, the 2008 recession, the business I was in kind of wrapped around the automotive industry, the suppliers and different things. So when the 2008 recession hit, it hit me hard, and I stayed in it until 2011, but that's when I decided to get out. I built a business, just little old me. We didn't get any loans or grants or anything like that. It was just me sitting at the coffee, well, I guess it was a desk / dining room table / computer room. It was an apartment is what it was. And so I just sat there. I remember the first phone call I made. I was doing these cold calls just because I had this list of companies that I found off the internet. And I just picked up the phone. I said, yes, may I speak to the president of the organization? And she said, the receptionist said, I don't know what I was thinking. May I ask who's calling? And I didn't know how to answer the question. I didn't want to sound like a sales call because I wanted her to put me through, because I knew she wouldn't put me through if I didn't. And I hung up the phone. I got up, flopped down on the couch, and I just sat there all day thinking about rehearsing that cold call. And I got up the nerve to do it again. I was never any good at cold calls, but I made a lot of business contacts doing it. I hated cold calls, but I did it. I found something I wanted to do, and we made a business out of it, a job out of it for 10 years. It was pretty nice, and I got to travel the country. When Carolyn and I decided that we were going to quit the organizations that we worked for, we saved up money, got debt-free, bought a little pop-up camper, and we started traveling the country. Now, of course, we weren't big fans of it. We did it for 3 years and wasn't big fans of it, but we were able to do it until we decided we didn't want to do it. And it was kind of cool. I mean, we look back at it now and we say, boy, you know, going there, that was kind of nice. Of course, we remember the hard times trying to find water and internet and camping sites. It's starting to get dark again. Bummer. But I've always been the type that says, let's just do it. If I wanted to do it, I found a way to make it happen. Then somebody burned down our camper. So we built this. I bet we didn't spend $500 on it. I think that's what it cost us, $500. And it's been sitting, doing its job for 5 years, 6 years, I guess 6 years maybe, I don't know. And of course we're going to disassemble it, tear it down. It's had its good life, but again, we got to just continue traveling, doing what we wanted to do until we decided we didn't want to do it anymore. And this is what I'm trying to encourage folks to do, live their dreams. Don't just dream the dream and then talk about how you can't do it and get mad and aggravated. Figure it out. Save up some money. You know, I said the other day, spent $4,200 like on this property. Oh, you can't do that anymore. And the first comment you always get when you say you spent $4,200 on this property with a well, can't do that anymore. Now, if you want to travel 2,000 miles, then travel 2,000 miles. I don't even understand that comment. Of course you're going to travel 2,000 miles. If you want to do something, then you have to do what it takes to do it. And if you want to spend $4,200 on a piece of property so you can live happy and free, then travel the 2,000 miles. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. Carolyn and I traveled the entire country until we got here. Why are you tying your hands? I'm not gonna move all the way out there where I can find some property that I can afford. No, that's crazy. Why would I do that? I don't get it. Just do it. Make yourself happy. Stop complaining. Stop saying what you can't do. Stop trying to figure out and make excuses why you can't do this. Oh, I can't drive 2,000 miles. Well, of course you can. You can walk it. And the thing is that if you're gonna live off-grid in a little tiny house, you don't need to bring all your junk. Sell your junk. Come here, buy yourself a little camper with the money you made from the junk, park it on your property, your new property that's got the well on it for $4,200, and start living. But this family, it's kind of neat. Mom, dad, daughter, and grandson. It's awesome. So if you can click this up next box to take that video I made yesterday about I've been able to do what I wanted to do. So if I can inspire you to live your dreams, stop making excuses. Thanks for watching.